You're now listening to the legendary Vinyl Esquire. Vinyl Esquire.
That uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. Vinyl Esquire with DJ Rip.
Vinyl Esquire. Culture, truth, music.
You're now listening to the legendary Vinyl Esquire. Vinyl Esquire. Vinyl Esquire. You're now listening to Vinyl Esquire. Culture, truth, music.
The podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. Vinyl Esquire with DJ Rip.
Vinyl Esquire. Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, the podcast that delivers culture, truth, music. Would you join me, please, in welcoming DJ Rip?
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire. And Vinyl Esquire is the DJ podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. And without further ado, I would like to introduce the legendary musician, producer, songwriter, turntablist, and DJ for the iconic group Outkast. I would like to welcome to Vinyl Esquire the legendary DJ Cutmaster Swiff.
Hey, what's up, man?
Swiff, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here. Glad to get this interview.
Yes, sir. You like that? You like that intro?
Oh yeah, that was dope. I like that. Like, you know, all them titles.
Right. Well, the next time you're on Jimmy Fallon, you can use it. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, hey, man, Swiff, I want to thank you for allowing me to interview you for Vinyl Esquire. This is the DJ podcast that uplifts the DJ culture and honors our legends. You're definitely a legendary DJ from the South, dope producer, and an icon. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and get started. Cool?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so let's take it all the way back to the beginning. So, Swiff, can you tell me who or what made you want to be a DJ?
Oh, man. I got to go all the way back. Really to like, of course, all the Run DMC stuff, Jam Master Jay, then like Cash Money, Jazzy Jeff, Rodney on Joe Cooley, West Coast, Mr. Mix. I mean, just listening to the records, because when I first started, my thing was like, I was trying to like do everything I heard on wax. Like I would listen to it like some Jazzy Jeff was doing, and I just go back and see if I could do it, try to put my own twist on it, or anything Jam Master Jay was doing. You know what I mean?
Okay. So what year would you say that you started DJing, and what was your first DJ name?
I started DJing, I must have been like in maybe 10th grade, which would be like 85 maybe. 85. And my first DJ name was it was Mr. Swift, right? And I spelled it, SWIFT, Mr. Swift. And my boy was like, my friend named Kevin, he was telling me like, no, man, it just can't be Mr. Swift, DJ Swift. He was like, you got to have a 3-part name like Jam Master J, Grandmaster D, Grandmaster Flash, Mixmaster Ice. That's where the whole Cutmaster Swift came into play. He was like, you need to be like Cutmaster. So he kind of gave me that part of my name, which is pretty interesting because he was DJing at the time also, and he just kind of got away from it, moved away, went to Virginia, and that was it. But that's how I got the name. He gave it to me. Got
you. So your motivation to be a DJ was always from the beginning to be, as we would call, turntablist, somebody who does tricks and scratches and all of that. Is that right?
I mean, I would say it kind of started like that. Want to do that, but like, because I grew up like, I'm the baby of 7, so I grew up in a household just full of kind of DJs, so to speak, in the sense of music. Like, I listened to everything, back then. We bought albums, and when we cleaning up the house and doing little stuff, my brother and them, sister and them, you had to listen to the whole album. So I was very well cataloged, like, when it come to music. Like, I like black or white music or pop music, whatever. We listened to everything because, like, that's all you had as black folks back then, When I moved from Cleveland, I got introduced to being in the band, so I picked up an instrument and started playing trumpet, which I played forever. I would tell any DJ or anybody, any kid, like, especially if you want to produce or do music, pick up any instrument because it's going to give you a whole nother perspective on music, even the way you just listen to songs. Like, I hear songs a whole different way, probably than a lot of people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So talk to me about your beginnings. talk to me about your beginnings as a DJ. How did it start for you in Atlanta? You're originally from Cleveland, is that right?
Right. I was born in Cleveland. I moved to Atlanta. My mom and dad divorced when I was like 7, 8. It was 1978. So I was 8 years old when I got here, 3rd grade. And I want to say at that time, maybe Rappers Delight just that came out, and it was like the best shit I had ever heard in my life. I knew the song Good Times, you know what I'm saying? But it was like,
right.
I was like, these dudes saying whatever, like, this shit sound dope. And what I do remember, because we didn't have like, no hip hop station or nothing like that, but I guess the coolest DJ at the time on the radio might have been Casual Cal or somebody like that, Atlanta legend.
Okay.
Casual Cal. They might have been playing it on WLK, which is on AM. So like that was the go-to for, like, you know what I mean, AM and maybe a college station, WRFG. But my influence, like what made me, I had a cousin from Cleveland that came down, and he came on something. He told me he was DJing. He was good too. He had 2 turntables, but so I would practice with him a little bit first couple of months, and he was like, man, I got to go back home. I got to go back to Cleveland, and he said, I'm going to leave my equipment with you. I'll be back in 3 months. He left. By the time he came back, you know who was better.
Right.
And like with that being said, like it was like a blessing in disguise for me, because the school I went to the school in the hood, and I could have made a wrong turn anyway, like just doing and being with the wrong people, because I was around it all the time, but all I wanted to do was just come home and scratch, get better, just get better. And that's all I did. It really kept me out the streets.
So how was that early hip-hop Atlanta movement? How was that for you? How was that experience, being in Atlanta in those early days when hip-hop was just getting started there?
Okay, that's a great question. I felt like I was like right in it as like kind of part of it, because by the time I graduated, I would say I came out of '88, so hip hop is hot. The Atlanta scene, we got Shotty, we got Raheem the Dream. So now and other DJs like DJ Lynn, the J Team, Toon, a couple of guys. So with this being said, so I'm trying to see these dudes. I want to like know who I hear them on record. So everybody, it was a mystique, because you could never, we didn't have the internet and all that kind of stuff back then, so you would never see nobody kind of, and wasn't nobody throwing no big no big hip hop shows in Atlanta, like you know what I'm saying, like we was learning what hip hop was, like, because we hadn't really found our true sound or identity yet, so
right.
So you had a lot of cats like who was on in the bass game heavy. It was all about the 808. And booty shade or bass game, how we want to put it. But then, New York was running all this shit, and a little bit of the West Coast. So it was a crazy melting pot for all kinds of culture. Atlanta was wide open for that, and we still are. That's why you got so much music coming out of Atlanta, because it ain't necessarily one particular style. You know what I mean?
Right.
It could be anything. But yeah, I would say like Shotty was like a. Raheem was a superstar. Shotty was like a mega star though, because like I said, he was making these records out of Florida. Then when he signed with Luke, it was like, man, this nigga the shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was
right.
And then I had a group of friends where we started a group called 9mm. So we trying to goddamn get on, because they were so inspiring to me. And that's when you had crews like making their own records, like trying to press their records, sell them out the trunk, sell them, you know what I mean, selling tapes. Because back then, the Dope Boy, you remember, this now, the Dope Boy was the front man for the label, whatever it was called.
Right.
He was the silent partner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Like,
I do.
He the one bought all the studio shit, equipment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we was the talent. Now the Dope Man is the fucking rapper, or the gangbanger.
Right,
or the or you know what I'm saying? All the rap records being made by the gangbangers, or the dope dealer, or perhaps the stripper.
Right, absolutely.
But, it's the shit crazy.
Yep.
But somebody would have told me music was gonna take this turn like this, I wouldn't believe it in a million years, because like I know back then, like I took pride in trying to find out who was really good or better. I wanted to see it. I wanted to know why, because I was gonna learn. Like I was trying to soak up game from everybody, whether it was the rap or the beats or whatever. And then another thing too, back then, even most DJs will tell you, most DJs can rap. We was doing that shit too, or dance or something, like true B-boys. Most DJs was, in a sense, was a B-boy.
Absolutely.
And they lied if they said they wasn't.
Right.
They really lied. You ain't too much just DJ.
Right. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Just like myself and everybody who I've ever talked to, they've tried to do it all. You know what I mean? It's like I tried to B-boy, I tried to beatbox, I tried to rhyme, I tried to DJ, and you just end up getting better at one or the other, and that's what you roll with. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So go ahead.
And it never surprised me, like, when I hear DJs rap. It never surprised me when I hear, like, the DJ produced this record, like, because I know we got a genetic advantage on a motherfucker that's just going to the studio, like, I'll just produce a record. No. If you're a DJ and produce a record, it's going to be something a little different. Them drums going to hit a little harder.
That's right.
Some going to be a little, sonically, some going to be, I got an edge on you, and you can't teach that shit.
Well, you know what? I mean, if we want to talk about new music now versus old music really quickly, the records that were produced by DJs who became producers still stand the test of time, even if they were made 40 years ago, right? And they bang in the clubs, they work on radio, they work everywhere. The music now that's produced by non-DJs just works in the club to me, and that's because of the sound, right? They may be good radio records, but they don't stand the test of time. It's something about the DJ producer that changes things, right? Yes,
exactly. Amen to that.
Absolutely. So Swiff, okay, we talk about we talking about late 80s. We talking about the beginnings for you. So talk to me a little bit about that rap group 9mm, V103's Fresh Party, and you DJing at the famous Sharon Showcase. How did you get in? Talk to me about this. Okay,
actually, 9mm, the group was actually called 9mm, and everybody kept telling us we had problems trying to do shows because they was like, y'all promoting violence, which we was totally a non-violent group, like, because the rapper I had at the time was a guy named Master Round. He was good too, great freestyler. And we had a hype man named Hype Master Low. Anyways, the records we was making and what we was trying to follow the whole Public Enemy footprint, which really, like, truthfully for me, it wasn't really my thing. My thing was just like, because at the time I just had started working in the clubs and stuff, also different clubs. I worked in probably every club in the city, but for the people that know me from the Showcase or the Silver Fox or the Lamppost, the different clubs. But anyway, long story short, we was trying to follow the whole Public Enemy footprint on some black shit, militant shit. Let's overthrow the government and
right.
Like we would sit like and my dude who was rapping was like, he was cold with that shit. He was serious about it. So like, I mean, we had like, we was the most no famous, but we moved like you would have thought we had deals and shit. Like we had security. For real, like So would you say that, and no disrespect, because I love them, but would you say that 9mm was kind of on that consciousness prior to Goody Mob? Oh yeah, like we was before Goody Mob. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
But you know what? I wouldn't say it wasn't even. Our shit was more angry.
Okay.
So let me say that. Like, so we was more lashing out. Like,
I got you.
Not. So Goody had a different approach with it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I love them. Legendary.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Especially by being four guys. Like,
right.
So if you got four angry guys, they're gonna tell you how they're angry four different ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah, go ahead.
We had one guy, he was bringing the goddamn pain.
Okay.
Yeah, so with that being said, and like so you gotta keep this in mind. Like, so I'm in this black ass middle degree. I got records we doing. I can't even really play in the club because that ain't the temperature. Mm-hmm. But from a performance standpoint and doing shows, it was a good look because you know what I mean. Like we just could never in Atlanta. Like we might have been before our time in that sense. Here we might have not should have been here. we might have been great coming from somewhere else.
Gotcha.
But at the time, you got Raheem jumping like fuck. You got Shadi killing it. I'm talking about this time we making records like Shaking and all this shit was out or before. Like, so not to mention all the records coming out of New York and West Coast. So it was, and it wasn't even just Public Enemy. It was kind of NWAs too. So like, it was also anger shit, and it had me kind of all mixed up because I'm at the studio doing this kind of shit with my crew. But when I get to Sharon Showcase, this motherfucker's booty shaking and you trying to get legs as a girl. Goddamn, I'm DJing for 1,500 people every weekend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
right.
1,500 people. I'm talking about, and I'm from the West Side. Shit, the showcase was on the East Side, which was the home of the J Team, kind of Edward J and them. And I remember kids in them, they used to come in the club, posters up, just staring me down. Like, one dude, they asked me to be on J Team one time. I was like, man, I can't do this shit. I'm from the West Side, dog. You know, I fuck with y'all, like, cause they was killing it. Like, the mixtape game, oh, shit.
Right,
They was killing it.
And
then when,
and Collie Park was a part of that too, right?
Yeah, DJ Smurf.
Yeah, Smurf at that time.
Smurf.
Right.
Yeah, it was Smurf. But then what was, like, that dude, what was crazy, I had been fucking with the J Team really before he came in because shouts out to DJ Lynn too. Like, Lynn was so nice with it.
Okay.
DJ Lynn DJ for Success and Effect. They did a Roll Up My Nigga song and Free.
Right.
Him, Eric Bridges. But like Lynn was killing it. Like on the mixtape game.
Yeah.
Smurf kind of was a guy that just came from like no fucking where. Like just bam. Like as far as the mixtape, I mean Edward J was the J Team was who they were. Like if you ain't have a J Team tape, you just like even if you could as a DJ as a rival DJ, you'd be like, I don't like them niggas. You had to listen to them niggas though. Like you had to hear what the fuck they was doing.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, you know, like I think Florida had Jam Pony and Lockjaw and all them dudes.
Right.
But we had the J Team, you know, until Jelly came. When Jelly and them came, they came and goddamn, whoa.
Right. So
their marketing was stupid. Like they just came and it wasn't even that it was better or nothing like that. Boy, that shit was like you can get a Jelly, a Big or Jelly tape anywhere. I think they were the first motherfuckers that had mixtapes like in gas stations.
Gotcha.
See, the J Team, you had to go to the store and buy this shit. You had to go to his record shop.
Got it. Okay, got you. So the J Team was that crew holding it down, and then Jelly and Big On came a little later, but they dominated. Yeah.
But when they came, I was like, who the fuck is this dude?
Right. I mean, okay.
That's how hard. That's how hard he hit. Like,
yeah, salute DJ Jelly, no doubt.
Like that, I was like him, MC Assault. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? They was like they from St. Louis or somewhere. I was like, damn, like they tapes, they CDs because at that time we transitioned from the cassette to the CD too.
Right.
So first it was like they caught they may have caught the end of the cassette going into the CDs when that CD pressure shit started. Like they had niggas slinging DJ Jelly MC CDs like the Muslim giving away fucking selling fruit, dog. Like that shit was everywhere. I was like
they were selling drugs, right?
Yeah, like it was crazy. it was that shit was a major takeover.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so Swiff. All right, so we got 9mm. You're in a conscious or a militant rap group in the late 80s, in the midst of all this booty shake. You're DJing at strip clubs, right? I mean, it was Sharon Showcase.
No. Sharon Showcase. No. It was actually a teen club.
Oh,
it was the best. It probably was the best shit ever though, because it was teen in the sense it was a teen club, but it wasn't a teen club because it basically was like, put it like this: I would have to be at the club at like 10 maybe.
Uh-huh.
I ain't pull out that shit till like 5 in the morning.
Got
like,
you. Okay.
Like it was motherfucker catching the bus. The bus stop was right in front of the club. Kids would catch the bus to the club and catch the bus home. And I seen girls come in that motherfucker and change outfits and everything. But
wow.
For real, it started jumping so hard where you think the word teen, you know, now you got girls in that motherfucker 21, 22, which draw guys that's 24, 25 and on up.
Right.
So it turned into like, so it was called a teen club, and shouts out to Sharon too. Like, she got to be the first person in Atlanta to do a couple of things. She was the first person that I seen be like, you got to be like 18 years old to party, 21 years old to drink. So she was giving out iron bands, like to goddamn, if you were too young to drink, you had to wear a band.
Right.
Or if you wanted to drink, let me say, you had to wear a band. And it was crazy how she was able to merge the older crowd with the slightly younger crowd. And it definitely had to be, for me, it definitely had to be more so guys chasing girls. I think when I think about it now, that's the only way that shit worked.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't want to do shit with no young folks, like me personally now.
Right. Absolutely.
But then when I think about it, I mean, come on, a girl that was 18, 19, built like women, guys, because I can remember, like, just, I was always in the DJ booth, but, you smell weed, you seen dudes with a little coke, so, and in my mind, I'm like, these ain't just teens, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And a drug dealer was there. Like, so the dope motherfuckers started coming through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and it was crazy because, and what would be funny, I would see the transition and the differences between, like, when it was more so some weekends, it was more so like the dope dudes in the house. I had to start playing. You had to play the hard boys and some early goddamn gangster pad and versus all the booty tape shit. I was always being put to the test as far as, like, reading the crowd and, like, you have a nigga come up, tip you 20 bucks. Hey, man, come on, man, let's kill this booty shake shit, man. Let's play some of that hard shit.
Right.
Was the owner, she would kind of hate.
Right, of course.
Because, when that shit get to jumping and it's right, the vibe right, motherfucker want the crowd bump and
fight.
You know how it is, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
DJ.
Yeah, absolutely, no question about it. So, so with the clubs going on, we're in the late '80s. This is hip hop Atlanta. Talk to me about V103 Fresh Party. Obviously, you now get on the radio. How does all this transition?
This transition go back all the way back to the showcase. Guy named Darren Fears. He was working at the radio station, and radio station guys will have their club gigs where they come to and broadcasting live, sometimes doing different things of that nature. And he's like, man, you dope. He's like, man, you need to do the Fresh Party. It was his show. It was his 2-hour show. Shouts out to Dangerous Dan Fears. And cause I was on it, Navs was on it, DJ Herb, shouts out to him, he dope too.
Right.
Tommy Fix, a lot of guys, but that's how I really started doing the Fresh Party. But I got to go back to something else I forgot with the 9mm thing. So we kept trying to do all these black militant ass records. So I told my boy, I said, look, let me do a record that I want to do, and let's see what jump off. So I did the first, like, what's up record.
Okay.
All this, what's up, all that shit.
Right.
I came up with that record fucking with some dancers, a group that I produced called TCP, the Crowd Pleasers. And actually, I came up with the whole idea just because of, like, the way they crank. It was kind of their cadence, them talking and things. They always would say, what's up? Get some saying different shit. And
right.
So I was like, man, this shit need to be like a record. So when I came up, I was like, look, man, let's just say, what's up? That's it. That will be the hook. Shit, that shit started buzzing because Ryan Cameron would use it as his trailer music or talk music. He would play the instrumental for a long time, but a couple of DJs was playing it in the club, playing the strip club too. But shit, that shit started bubbling. And boy, we had ourselves a record. I'm talking about shit was getting high. We was going like high school jams, and then goddamn, here come everybody else.
Okay.
Here come goddamn, what's up with the bankhead bounce? What's up this way? Fired up, what's up? Like, I was like, oh.
Okay, so wait. So did you press it up on vinyl and you did all that independently and gave it to everyone? Independently. We were working the streets. Yes, we took that shit to record pool, all that shit. Vinyl and cassette, yep. So would you say that was the first Atlanta crowd response type record?
Oh no! I would not say that. Hell no.
Okay, gotcha.
It was just it was just a glorious moment for 9 Milli.
Okay, got you.
And myself. But it was crazy because as a writer and producer, I was like, shit, this is what they want. You know, you tap into some shit. You like, okay then. I see how this shit go now. It was like it was a nice little learning curve with shit. And like I said, it was a record that DJs can play next to shit that I had already been playing. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was Planet Rock, it's time or whatever, you can mix all this shit.
Right.
And it worked.
Right, absolutely.
But not even that. It let me know that, like, okay, motherfuckers out here. You may not see motherfuckers, but like this other crew listening apparently, or you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just all about grabbing the street vibe or grabbing the club vibe, however you want to put it.
Absolutely. All right, so here we go. We got V103, Fresh Party. You're on the radio. You were DJing at Sharon Showcase in probably every club in Atlanta at the time. 9 Milli. Now, we're talking late 80s going into the 90s, right?
Right.
So give me a little quick snapshot of what happens now, because I'm going to assume that the next big thing that happens in your career is you become the official DJ for Outkast. But there had to be something that happened before that. How did you get to that point? Give me a quick snapshot of that.
This is going to crack you all the way up. So, it just show you how God work in mysterious ways, right?
Right.
So, as a DJ, too, like I had a regular job, too. I worked at a hair care company, Bronner Brothers. I don't know if you heard of them, big black hair company.
Yeah.
Huge.
Absolutely, yes.
So I worked for Bronner Brothers. I just started off as a regular young. It was my teenage job, and I stayed with them as I was growing up. But they used to do these hair shows, these big hair shows, and then they started traveling with it, and I kind of became like the official DJ and shit. So it gave me a chance to travel. You know, like by the time I was about 19, I had been all over the U.S. kind of. So that was an experience within itself, especially just hearing and meeting other DJs and shit. And when I went to Philly, I wanted to be like, gee, who on the radio? What jazz you know, man? Like I want Cash Money and Miz and all these great ass DJs out of Philly, because they had that shit on lock for some years. As far as like the DJs and Tap Money and all these dudes. The long story short, going back to 9 Milli, because I was doing the Bronner Brothers gig, when I couldn't do the 9 Milli shows, right, they would have a backup DJ named DJ. They just called him DJ. We never met. Like, I would just call and be like, look, I can't do this. I gotta do my real gig, goddamn it, you know, it make me some money. So back to the whole Outkast thing. I mean, what we coming up on? The guy that I told you about, Hype Master Low, him and Dre is cousins. So I always knew, you got to realize, Dre around me just during this time, so they would look up to us because, like, we was like 4 or 5 years older than these cats.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. My bad.
No, that's okay.
So like, but he would like, they would always be around, like, and Low was like, look, man, he used to take them everywhere. Like, man, this is my little cousin. These motherfuckers can rap, and they could rap too, like for real. And I'm talking about this before they even got with Dungeon Family.
Right. Because I don't mean to cut you off, but I know that there's a story of Outkast, pre-Outkast, and I believe that this is the story. But go ahead.
Yeah. In fact, it was called Two Shades Deep. That was the name of the group.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
Two Shades Deep. Dre was calling himself Jazz, I think, at the time, and Big was calling himself Twan. But they can, like, in fact, if we had some shows somewhere, they would be like, shit, y'all want to open up? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how it was, because this our hype man, little cousins. Right. But anyway, to bring it on home to the whole Outkast. So at this time, I kind of slowed down DJing, and I was trying to really lock in on the production, because I was like, man, I felt like I kind of did what I could do as a DJ as far as learning shit, like how many scratches can you do, how much beat juggling can you do. So I'm trying to harbor in on my production skills. So I just kind of stopped practicing. I'm like, I'm trying to get into the fucking, you know what I'm saying, the production.
Right.
So with that being said, Angelo called me Low called me. He was like, shit, man, no, I'm wrong. Dre mother calls me. Like, you want to DJ for Outkast? I'm like, huh? And what's crazy, I was still working at Bronner Brothers, and I just had landed this cool sales position as a salesman.
Okay.
So I was like, and so like for me, as a young man, 24, 25, however old I was like, I'm kind of, in my mind, I'm saying I'm kind of cool because I got a sales job and shit all right for me, and I still DJ clubs when I want to, and I got my studio set up. Thought about it, it's like, shit. She called me, and I was like, let me just think about it because I just had committed to this job.
Right.
I said, can I call you back? Can I call you back tomorrow? She was like, okay. She called me back in like 4 minutes, man. Like 4 minutes for real. And I was like, all right, I'm with it. But the thing about it, Mr. DJ, he quit, or he had another child. He was like, he can't do the whole DJing for Outkast thing no more. He needs to stay at home, raise his kids. Plus, his producing, he felt like that was just the way for him to go. So when he was like, I'm done, because I came in on 8 The Aliens.
Right.
Second album. But what I'm saying is the irony of the whole story is he was my backup DJ, and I never knew who he was as 9 Milli.
Wow.
That's what's crazy.
Okay, so the interview is about you, not Outkast, right. But you jumped over this really fast. So let's just recap that just really quickly. Okay,
my bad.
So no, that's okay. It's okay because again, it's about you. So Mr. DJ was the backup DJ for you in the group 9 Milli, right?
Yes, right. But they just called him DJ. Then he didn't. It wasn't Mr. DJ. Then it was just DJ.
Right. So then Mr. DJ then becomes Outkast's DJ, and you become the second DJ, but on their second album, and then you've been with them ever since. Now, hold on. So, but before Outkast was Outkast, what was their group name again?
2 Shades Deep.
2 Shades.
2 Shades Deep, and they probably had a couple of names too, but I particularly remember that one for a while. Or they may have been the last one before they went to Outkast. I definitely know it was 2 Shades Deep, and like I said, Dre name was Jazz, Big name was Twan.
Got you. Okay, so they obviously get with the Dungeon family, which you're all family, right? And go ahead.
Yeah, that's a funny story too, because you know people always talk like 3 degrees of separation, and for all the years with the Dungeon family, right? I live on one side of the park. They live on the other side of the park. I never even know them. I didn't know these niggas was there.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like, I'm talking about literally like a half-mile walking distance. How a cool size park is.
Wow.
I mean, literally, this is on one side, they on the other side. I mean, I walk my dog through the park, around that park. I never knew that, and I walk by the dungeon like a trillion times, never knowing that that's the dungeon.
Wow, right, the famous house, right?
The famous house, this shit crazy.
Wow, okay. So they get with Dungeon family, you know, and that's a whole story in itself, obviously. And, you know, they become Outkast, right?
What's crazy, one of the last times I saw Dre, before the Outkast thing, he was, he had started working at the flea market, and he was doing graffiti and drawing those shirts and shit, because, like I said, his cousin was our hype man, Lo, and Lo always kept a hustle. Like Lo was kind of like our dope dealer that did whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because he was older than us, and you know he was a guy that had bought houses and cars, did certain things, just knew life way better than us. We was so caught up into goddamn trying to, you know how they having a hobby, and although you 20, but you still thinking like a kid. Like, I want to be fresh, I want to be dope, I want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, Lo had a more true perspective on life, so he always had some type of shit going on, some type of hustle, good or bad. And like I got to say that. But this time I saw Dre, he was working in the flea market with Lo or doing something, and everybody was like, "Y'all heard this Outkast shit?" And I, you know, Ryan Cameron, radio DJ, he started his bowling tournament. I did the very first bowling tournament he had. I don't even know if he realized that, but. And when I went to DJ the bowling tournament, that's when I was like, damn, man, congratulations. I heard y'all got signed, yada, yada, yada. And I saw him a couple of times after that. But let me give you another story, too, right quick. even with me just becoming a DJ, I had to, when they told me, they said, well, you're going to have to go to New York and battle these two guys. I was like, for real? I was like, how long I got? They was like, probably give us about 3 days. And keep in mind, I told you, I had kind of like slowed down with the DJing.
Right.
So I was like, fuck. So I was trying to put together routines, like something I could do, like, you know, a good 3-4 minute routine or whateve. Then Dre himself called me back. He was like, look, man, we've been seeing you down. We came up under you. We've been seeing you DJ like shit at the studio, at the Sharon Showcase. I know what you can do. He was like, fuck what management saying. Because at the time, they was managed by Flavor Unit, which was Queen Latifah.
Right. Okay.
So he was like, Dre was like, man, fuck all that. He was like, man, really? You got the gig. And I never forget my first show. I had to ride down to I think it was Florida, maybe somewhere like that. So me and Dre mother, we ride to the show. Cause I had to see the show one time. Cause when I got the gig, this at the beginning of the promo of ATLiens.
Okay.
So I go to the show, and it's crazy because I had never seen them. I had never been to an Outkast show. Hold on, let me let this thing stop singing. Clock. Okay, I had never been. You know how you hear somebody record on the radio and it's cool, but like to go to their show and see like shit 2,000 people fucking with them like this.
Right.
I didn't really even know like they was that big, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time, you know, I was kind of maybe trapped in my own arrogance and cockiness and shit. Cause
right, I got you.
You know what I mean? Not trying to be, but you know, that's kind of how you psych yourself out to be like, do better, be better, and all that kind of shit.
Right.
I know for me. So when I went to the show, right, I'm like, damn, everybody, all these people here for like, it was at a college, I guess, club or college. But anyway, I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, let me see what he doing, what Mr. DJ doing. At this time, we 2 turntables and a DAT player.
Okay.
So basically, I'm like, shit, that's what he doing. And me being like kind of show out DJ, I was like, oh, this ain't shit. I instantly started seeing like 10 things I can do while they doing what they do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, in my mind, I started saying, this is what I can, okay, this is how I can make the show better. And just as sure as I thought it, I told Dre, and then shit, we started just doing things to enhance the show, getting studio time to make show tape, everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
okay, so let me ask you this. Okay, so you said that Dre's mother called you and asked you to be their DJ, but then management wanted you to compete to get the job. Is that right? But then you ended up getting it. Okay.
Yeah. Like, because keep in mind, and Angelo Lowe, our hype man, which is Dre's cousin.
Yeah.
Because he put the bug in there. He was like, why don't y'all just get Swift? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Got you.
Yeah. And at the time, Dre's mom being Outkast day-to-day manager, but Flavor Unit was the big management company that like, y'all need to be on Martin, y'all need to be on TV. Like, they did those things.
Right.
So, like, she called me and like, I was like, can you just get me to tomorrow? Give me a couple of days to think about it. She's like, yeah, okay. She called me back in 5 fucking minutes.
Right. Okay. So you get the gig. All right. And obviously you enhance the group from the stage show perspective and musically. Okay. So talk to me about how did you feel the first time you heard their record though? You know, because it looks like you weren't really taking them too serious at first. Like, okay. And then when you saw them. But what about the first record? You know, the first Outkast record?
Okay. The first album, I was cool. See, I was cool with the whole Southern Playalistic thing, but, you know, everybody was kind of going crazy about it. I ain't never been no smoker. I still ain't no smoker. So I didn't take it in the same way.
Okay.
Like lyrically like that. So it was like, oh, it's cool. And I was like, the music jam, like, it's a new sound. I was liking it. At the same time, the bass game's still jumping a little bit.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, got you.
So like,
because we're talking about about 94, 93, 94, right? Right.
The bass game still jumping. So, and then on top of that, it ain't like they was club records either. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was like, so on the DJ radar, it's like, all right, this shit cool, but it was more so for your listening pleasure in the car.
Yeah.
At the house type shit. And if you're a smoker. And I want to say at the same time, shit, as far as smoking and that kind of shit, I think Snoop just had made Doggy Style, right?
Yeah, that's why I was saying it was 93, 94. So, we got Wu-Tang, we got Wu-Tang, we got the Chronic, we got all of that going on, yes.
Right. So, you know, you played all that shit when you jumped into them kind of parties or that kind of setting, which would be like club like the Warehouse or shit like that. But for everything now I was playing the records when I did the Fresh Party or mix show or some shit like that. But even then I wouldn't even do it because I would always be, because I would listen to what the other DJs was doing on their week of doing the mix show, and I had to come a whole other way. So I'm mixing motherfucking 122 and Dirty Diana and Cuts, and you know what I'm saying? I'm doing shit like that. And
right, I got you.
Yeah, you know, so okay. I'm trying to bring something different.
Well, so Outkast is an entity of its own. They have become this, you know, infrastructure, right? You know what I mean? Like this iconic group. So listen, you've been there DJ and worked with them for over 20 years now. Is that right?
Yep, 25, something like that.
Right. So yeah. What's it like working with Big Boy and Andre 3000? You've scratched and produced countless Outkast songs, I believe. Is that correct? Talk to me about this. How was it like? The process. How was it like?
Was really crazy. The process is both of the guys. They so genius. Like, believe it or not, in their own way. Like a lot of times they start in the studio together. But as far as doing the song, like Dre goes so fucking hard in the studio. I mean, like, man, we might start on a fucking song, or he might start on a song, and it sound like shit. And you don't get it. You be like, what is this dude doing? What is he listening for? He keep fucking with his same. You just don't know where he going. I mean, his mind is, dude got a crazy mind. I mean, it's genius.
Right.
And you can step out the room for a couple hours and come back, and this nigga been saying some shit or added a crazy sound. You be like, okay, that's cool. Cause believe it or not, like a lot of the records, they start off crazy, and I would say, like, musically, they kind of don't be all that good at the beginning, which lets you know how good of MCs they are, because they marry them vocals to that music, and it's like, because everybody can't rap on the Outkast beats. They think they can.
No, they can't.
But right, that's like, who the fuck, like Bonzo Baghdad.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and see, that's the reason why I wanted to ask you this, because, you know, of course, Dungeon Family was, the Organized Noise were producing them at first, right? And
right.
then they start taking production over, and then I know you've produced records for them, and I know you've done a lot of scratching. So I just wanted to kind of see where it was at. How was it like working with them, and what records did you produce for them?
I'm ready to tell you. Now, this was crazy. So I want to say, like with Elevators, you know, like Dre did Elevators, right?
Okay.
He produced it.
Right.
And I think I particularly remember they just playing the record. Big, go out, strip club, throw some money, have some drink, have a good time. Come back to the studio, 3 a.m. Shit. Walk in on that. Let me try something. Come up with the hook, 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Therefore, you got a song. And actually, I'll spend more time in the studio doing stuff more so with Big than actually Dre, especially beat-wise, music-wise. I scratched on damn everything pretty much. But you know what I got some unreleased stuff too, like I've done Dre here at the house that nobody ain't never heard. But
see,
as far as
okay, now hold on, I don't mean to cut you off, but just you saying you have some unreleased Big Boy Andre 3000 records is phenomenal. You know what I mean? Just for you to say that.
Oh, yeah,
you know
yeah.
What I mean? But
like,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Big sit on 10 of my songs right now as we speak. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like I said, I got a couple of unreleased songs that me and Dre was fucking with just at the house. And, you know, he got a lot of unreleased shit that he say he don't like. It's fucking phenomenal to me, but, you know, that's a whole nother interview.
Right, absolutely.
Within itself. But from the production standpoint, I got to give it up to like Organized Noise. Like they still doing stuff with Organized when they can or whatever. But and Mr. DJ did a lot of good songs too, like Storytelling. I think he did like The Goodie, They Don't Dance. But so his production career took off. So which was I guess a blessing for me because like I said, that's how I got the gig.
Right.
And I did like the speaker box intro for Big. It was crazy because I was submitting stuff for the album, and I was like, man, it was everybody was submitting so much shit, and sometimes as a producer, you get caught into that whirlwind of the process. Because one thing I hate is like I'm always the first motherfucker to bring the heat, kind of, but it take a motherfucker a year to do the album. So by the time the album come out, your sound changes, your sound get old, kind of. You know what I mean?
Okay, I got you. Like
that happens a lot. Like, bro, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that happens a lot. Sometimes you blessed enough and lucky enough where it's like, okay, although I ain't use this for ATL, and I'm gonna use this for that, because sometimes you overlooked, and you know they'll reach back and be like, you know, because they still got a couple of records like they did from ATLians that motherfuckers ain't never heard. Just because when people be like, man, I want to hear that classic Outkast sound or whatever,
right?
They can go back and snatch like I'm trying to think, like you remember that song West Savannah?
Yes.
Like they put it out. I think it's on. It might be on
a sound.
Equipment out maybe. But what I'm saying that to say the song was done 10 years early. Got you. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how it is when you're in the vibe. That's the best thing about a vibe. The best and worst thing about a vibe. When you're in the vibe, you can do a lot of shit. The worst thing about it is you can't never get it back when it's there. Like you can't make the weather the same. You can't make the sky as blue as it was. So you know what I mean?
Right. Well, you know, I just wanted to touch on this a little bit because I mean you've been in the studio with them for so long, and I mean you've worked on like ATLians, like you said, Stankonia, Idlewild, Speaker Box, The Love Below, and so many projects that Outkast have been a part of. What what is that? Is there a certain record that you produce or you were a part of that you love more than another, or a certain, you know, something that may have happened, like that whole experience? You know, how is it?
Okay, like I was saying with Speaker Box, Love Below. So like it was funny because with that, the first single was supposed to be "She Lives in My Lap" originally.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be that, and it was a slight hold up on the album because Big was like, man, I'm trying to finish this shit myself. He was like, I don't have no intro. And that's all I needed him. I just heard him say that. He was like, let me call you back. And I think I wound up doing the fucking, I called my homegirl over here, Tanya. She do the vocals and shit for me. So I was like, I just got on my drum machine. I was like, I need to come up with something crazy. Like, so I did the intro, the Speaker Box Love Below intro, which really was going to be a record.
Okay.
It wound up being an intro. But I wound up emailing him that, and that's when motherfucker was just like started emailing beats and shit, you know?
Right.
He called me back. It was like 4:35. He was like, man, you just saved my fucking life. He was like, you just did it. He was like, oh man, he went crazy. He was like, boy, this it. So it was gonna be his first single, and She Lives in My Lap. Then Dre was like, no, it don't need to be that. It need to be motherfucking Hey Ya. And it's funny how like they always have problems picking these first singles with Outkast, like LA.
Right.
LA be like, shit, let's just give him the hit. Let's just give him Miss Jackson. Dre be like, no, let's do Bones Over Baghdad. Cause at first, like they was like Bones Over Baghdad was too rock and roll for black radio, and you know all these analytics, man, they come up with. And when it's all said and done, we just want to DJ, produce, and do music. You know, we don't know.
Right, absolutely. So, what were you producing these records with at that time?
Like equipment wise?
Yeah.
SP 1200.
Okay.
SP 1200. That's a funny story about like with the Bones Over Baghdad thing. Dre was like, man, I know you, because he said, I know you fuck with the SP hard because like for anybody doing bass music, that's the bass game machine. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's,
right.
Like, hell yeah. Like, and then all the early hip hop records, all the DVD, the Bridges Over and shit, like that was a machine. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Had that gritty sound. So Dre was like, I want to learn how to work the SP 1200. I was like, I'll show you. I said, I can show you in like an hour. He was like, cool. So I showed him a couple of things because he already knew how to program drums on other shit, but he just wanted to know some shit. I said, hey, I gave him a couple of discs with some sounds on it. That motherfucker came back with Bombs on Baghdad in a couple of days.
Wow. Okay.
That's how cold he is. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, for real. But SB12, Juno 106 on keys and JD 800, rolling shit. MPC a little bit. I think at this time we were still recording on tape, too. I don't even know. We started using Pro Tools a little bit. In fact, I was on Pro Tools. Nobody else was really. Like, the studio was still, using a 2-inch.
So talk to me about your production style. How would you describe it?
Man, like when you do it so long and you have a melting pot like Atlanta and the influence of fucking New York and West Coast, shit is gumbo, bro. Like, I can do like anything. I can, like, me personally.
Well, you're a DJ, so I already know where you're coming from. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I can do kind of like anything because I understand how it's all put together, and and I do whatever the track calls for. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to, I learned that shit from organized noise. Period. Like, we gonna do what the track calls for. We need a real horn section. Get these motherfuckers in here. We need some violin. We need, like, because think about it. If everybody using motherfucking MPC, everybody using same keyboards or same synths.
Right.
Shit, know what? We need a real piano, bro. It might just do something else. Like, they showed me that. They showed it organized. Like, just going into their sessions, it's like, whoa,
man.
Okay, I want the best. I want the best guitar player in Atlanta. Or give me one of the best guitar players. Give me one of the best bass players. Like, even with Dre, like when he was doing like Miss Jackson, he was like, shit, this is my nigga Swiff. This Aaron Mills from Cameo. I was like, oh wow, okay, what are you doing?
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I've always thought this, right? So, like, for the East Coast, of course, you have Marley Marl, but what the Bomb Squad brought to music from New York is right. So then you look at the West Coast with Dr. Dre and everything that was going on with his sound and the style, and then bringing in the G-Funk. The South is organized noise. You know what I mean? And that whole thing, it's like, I knew that they were incredible when I heard the records. And it just always sounded like that perfect blend of like melodic keys and instruments with them dirty drums. And it just always came out to be a masterpiece. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you were a part of so many classic records with Outkast. Talk to me about some of the records that you either produced or were a part of, with Big Boy, solo stuff, the Dungeon Family, Killer Mike, Goody Mob, Purple Ribbon All-Stars. Talk to me about some of those records.
So what's crazy, I'll never forget, I got a good story for you. And this gonna circle back around to what you just asked me, but I got to tell you this story while it's on my mind.
Okay, go ahead.
You got to be thinking.
Right, go ahead.
That's real. So we have a show. We got a show, the Outkast. We got a show in Nashville, Tennessee, which was a market we never went to because they didn't have no hip-hop station. So I think they was introducing this new hip-hop station. So we wanted to ask. So we're in Nashville. Now this is really fucking crazy, the story. We're in Nashville. We're on a tour bus. So we just chilling at the venue. I just did a sound check. I get back on the bus. We chilling. Then Bobby Brown steps on the fucking bus. Right? So we like, hell no, Bobby Brown, like, niggas love Bobby Brown. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
He just like a cool-ass cat, right? So we jaw-jagging. I think I was drinking some Hennessy, took a couple shots with me. You know what I'm saying? I think smoked a little weed or whatever. So Dre, we just talking like, what you been up to, man? Good to see you. What the hell you doing up here? He was like, man, I got this new group I'm trying to fuck with, yada, yada. He's telling us this. And so we was like, yeah, man, how is he? Like, you married to the bank. So he, because he was married to Whitney at the time. So he's like, yeah, man. He was like, shit. He like, man, that shit cool. He was like, He was like, we was like, so shit, when you back in the A? When you back in Atlanta? He was like, nigga, I can't even come to Atlanta. We was like, what? Like, Judge told me, hell no. Like, then we was like, well, what about the studio? He was like, nigga, fuck the studio. Y'all want that shit? Y'all can have it, right? He just talking. We thinking this nigga just talking shit and he hiding, right? And all this.
Right.
Long story short, we had management, Blue. We had Blue to check into that shit. He was like, studio was a foreclosure. And at the same time, the label was, they was trying to get Dre them a record label. So them buying the studio was part of the deal. So that's how they got Stank On Him, which used to be Bobby Brown's studio, Boss Town.
Right.
A lot of people don't know this shit, but that's actually how this story happened.
So
you know what I mean?
So did they buy it from him, or because
no? It was a foreclosure. They bought it, but nobody. They bought it with all the fucking equipment, with the board and everything in it.
Right. Wow.
So it was part of this when we started Equipment Out Records.
Wow. Okay.
So Columbus. So this was leads me into the Killer Mike thing. So we started Equipment Out Records. We get the studio. We started Equipment Out Records, which was directly across the street from the studio. They make me the A&R.
Okay.
We putting together. We got Slim Calhoun. He coming out of the box first. So you know, I guess it was kind of like one of that whole Slim project was supposed to be kind of like Mr. DJ thing. It was his whole pet. I did one song on there. I think Dre did 1 or 2 songs. But so we had Slim, I think Sleepy, Killer Mike, I don't know, somebody else. But long story short, I'm sorry, I'm tripping. I just did a record on my group TCP, because the shit we was trying to do, it was some bass shit, but we was trying to do kind of like some a smoother version of 2 Live Crew shit. They was nasty a little bit, but they can dance, because they was basically a dance group that I made a rap group. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So we everybody making these records. We had Sylvia Rome come down to do a listen and check out the progress, right? So they playing everybody shit. They playing Slim shit. They played some records Killer Mike had. So she's like, everything's cool. I love the way everything's going. Then Dre said, hold up, Swiff got a record. So they played the TCP record, which is called Got a Girl. I don't know if you're familiar, but
Right, yeah, I'm familiar with the record, yes.
Right. So they played Got a Girl. That was the last record out of like 20 records, right? We've been listening to 20 records loud as fuck in the studio, in the A room.
Right.
Man, they played that record, right? It was the last record. I'm talking, they finna close the meeting out. Played that shit. That lady jumped up on the table. He played that shit 8 times in a row.
Wow. Okay.
Listen, she said, congratulations, son. You got yourself a deal. And I signed him. She said, you got yourself, this was crazy. She said, you got yourself a deal. Killer Mike, go back into development. Hey, man.
Wow, no way.
This is, yes, that's what's funny. Listen, me and Killer Mike, we knew each other, but he was like tripping. He was like kind of sad. So we stood outside the studio. I said, look, Mike, come over to my house. And man, listen, I said, I'm gonna clean your sound up. You can rap like a motherfucker. And I was like, even your shit is good, but it's something else we could do to commercialize the shit a little bit better, or do something, or make it more dynamic. So he came, me and him started fucking around hard. I mean, we would record records every goddamn other day, pretty much. So that's how we started on Monster. Truthfully, Monster, I could have did Monster. I could have did the whole album if they would have let me, because I had enough songs. I think I wound up doing 4 or 5 songs on there. Scared Straight being like one of like my favorites. I don't know if you remember that song.
Absolutely. I mean, these are classics.
Yes. Yeah. Like, that was my shit. And I was begging them to make that the first single. Or no, the second single. Action was the first single. And Dre did Action. I wrote the hook. But I wrote part of it. I started out with the hook. And then Big came on in and finished it up. But yeah, but Dre did the beat. And I was, I would argue them down, like, because we putting together the label at the same time, A&R, but at the same time, I'm still on the road with Kaz a little bit. Then Killer coming in, and by me being the DJ for Kaz and everybody under the umbrella, I did everybody promo tours also. So it wasn't shit for me to go out 2 weeks with Backbone or either sometime the Goody or CeeLo or whoever. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when it was time to do Killer promo, I said, look, man, we got to put Never Scared on his album. And they was like, no. I'm like, y'all don't understand. This record is fucking killing.
Yeah, that was a big one. Absolutely.
Like, yeah, like.
But it's Bone Crusher's record, right?
Yeah, but they could have split it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Actually, let me tell you what's crazy. Actually, it was Bone Crusher and some motherfuckers named Reese and Bigelow from Mississippi, right?
Mm.
I don't know if you know this, right?
I do not. Go ahead.
True story. So you know how the song go, right?
Yes.
Come on with the hook. Bone Crusher first verse, and this shit tripped me out. Because we didn't really know that by the time the song blew up, we didn't know the beef between Bone Crusher and Reese and Bigelow. Basically, Bone Crusher took the niggas off, put Killer and T.I. on it.
Got you. Okay.
We get that during our promo shit. Song jamming. Soon as the fucking Bone Crusher verse come in, the crowd is screaming, fuck Bone Crusher. Fuck, like, this in Mississippi now. I'm like, we like, what the fuck? Listen, soon as Mike started rapping, they stopped. After his rap again, fuck, bro, I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's when I went back. After we finished the tour, I said, because Killer album wasn't out yet. I said, look, man, we gotta put this record on his album. Y'all don't understand. Of course, they didn't listen to me. And here we are today. But it was Scared Straight was like, that was that one slept on jam that was like, cause I know DJ Drummond was playing the fuck out of him and damn, what's his name? Don Cannon.
Yeah, I was gonna say Emperor Cersei or Don Cannon. Yeah.
They were saying like, and it was crazy because they had service radio with Adidas, and I think Scared Straight was the flip side.
Correct.
But like the DJs just jumped on Scared Straight quick.
Yeah, always happens. Absolutely.
Yeah,
man, and so many classic records, man, from Goody Mob and Purple Ribbon and Big Boy, Outkast, Killer Mike, Slim. I mean, it's just so many classics. How was it also like working with Gwen Stefani, Jennifer Lopez, Janae Monáe? I mean,
Oh, like Janelle, yep. Like Janelle, I did a lot of work with her. In fact, we did the she didn't want to do it though, the Time Will Reveal record on that Purple Ribbon All Stars debate jam.
Right.
She liked the song, but I just think like she didn't want that to be like, this gonna be my sound, this gonna be my sound. Big was like, shit, you would do the record, this shit jamming like fuck. So like that's how that happened. And the J-Lo thing, this me and Big trying to do a whole production team together called the Boom Boys.
Okay.
This shit crazy because basically I sent her out. We sent her out a beat pack with 10 beats, and they always pick the ones that you think that you don't really like. You know what I mean?
Right.
So she picked this record, some Still Around record, and dude named Corey Rooney wrote the vocals on it. I think he writes for Mary J. or he wrote Real Love or something like that. Anyways, I mean, that shit was great. And then as far as like Big Boy's solo shit, it's just funny how things like, you try to, you sit at home and you do beats and you be like, well, this could be the one, and you could do this and do that. It never really quite works out like that for me, for whatever reason. It's always circumstance or coincidence or something, Right. Like, even with like the Shine Blockers record that I did for Big, right? Dre was like, he came over one day, he was like, man, that shit, damn. I was like, shit, you want to do something? He's like, shit, I'll try. Then he was talking to Big. He said, man, I'll talk to Big Boy. He was like, I told him, you got a record, man? I was like, this shit jamming. And Big, he told Big, like, you should get on the record, right? So Big was like, cool. He's like, I'm fucking with it. That's my record. I'm like, cool. Me and Dre, next 2 days, he in town, we go to the strip club. We go to Club Blaze over on Moreland. Gucci Man just had got out of jail. Like, a day before that, 2 days before that. We see Gucci in the club, him and his homeboy. What's up? Chopping it up. Like, goddamn, Gucci's like, shit, Dre, when we gonna fuck around? He's like, shit. Dre like, man, it's cool. He's like, I do whatever when I feel it, whatever. But he's like, Swift just gave Big a record. You need to get on that shit. Gucci was like, bet. Shit. Goddamn, about 4 days later, Gucci was on my record.
That's dope.
But just like that shit, like, it's crazy. That's what I'm saying.
That's dope.
I mean, that shit, like, it's always just, like, you kind of never know. You wanna say, you know, as a producer or DJ or whatever, I'm that good and it should go this way, it should happen this way, but it never happens like that.
Well,
not for me.
Right. Well, that was the reason why I wanted to ask you as a producer and your experience with being a part of this. Because it was like there's this time frame. Because, you know, I've been to Stankonia. What's the studio right next door? Is it called Zach's?
Yeah, exactly. Eclipse.
Yeah, and I've been there, you know, with the Outlaws. I used to manage the Young Bloods for 5 minutes as well. And, you know, I know the Adam Crew, J-Bo and Polo, all of them, right? So,
right.
So, and I'm also familiar with across the street, those office buildings. Like it used to be, I think Ozone Magazine was over there for a minute. And
Right. That's what Purple Ribbon was too.
Right, Purple Ribbon and the Equipment Records was over there, right?
Right. Yes.
Very, very dope time in Atlanta. Dope block. I mean, the studios. It's just an iconic, you know, unmatched, you know, situation, right? It's just incredible. So that's why I wanted to bring up, you know, all these records in this time frame. You know, this era that you were a part of was incredible, and I just can't wait to hear. You know, and we'll get to this before the interview is over about new music and what you're working on. So anyways, talk to me about how you approach, not the production side. How do you approach your scratching on records, like Bombs Over Baghdad or a few other records? How do you approach the scratches?
You know, we talking about scratching, so you got to realize, like, you got to look at it as an instrument, kind of. Like, that's what I really respect, like, Mr. Mix for and DJ Premier, like,
right.
Like sometimes sometimes you can't get caught into the technique and difficulty of it all, but it just gotta sound fucking good.
Absolutely, it's gotta be funky. It's gotta sound good.
You know, like it's like a guitar solo. Like, you know, one of the best guitar solos is like Easy Like Sunday Morning, but it's so fucking simple. It's like, and you find yourself. And that part of the song singing that shit, right?
Right.
Like, so that, like, that's how I be trying to have my approach sometimes with some of the scratching. Sometimes, you know, if it's that kind of record and it calls for a certain degree of difficulty, I get it on some DJ shit and it's like, ooh, that shit. But, you know, you want to, you know, I learned from Mr. Mix, and like I said, Primo, you want to have sing-along scratches.
Yes, absolutely.
let me just put it like that. So, and even if not sing-along, like familiarity, like sound good, timing wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that be my whole approach on it. Like, what would make a motherfucker hum when I'm scratching? And that's my approach.
I asked you that because a lot of people may think, he just takes a sound effect and he just scratches on beat, right? There's an art to how you approach it, what sounds you use and choose, how you do the rhythm. It's an instrument of itself. Let me ask you some turntablist DJ shit for real.
Okay.
Is there a particular scratch that you've heard on record in the past that you loved? It could be Cash Money. It could be any DJ.
Oh yeah.
What's some of the best scratches you've ever heard on a record? It could even be something you did. Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you some of the best cuts that trips me out. Like, to this day, believe it or not, whoever cutting on Afro Weekend, Give It All You Got. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yes.
Oh, that's some of the best. That shit. Mike Hampton, Magic Mike. Oh man, I was listening to some of that shit the other day. I was like, man, he was fucking genius.
Magic Mike was nothing to play with, no question.
And like that, and Dwick.
Okay.
Dwick, the simplicity, like that shit. Of course, Jazzy Jeff, like live, the house party style record, and just all that shit, touching jazz, like all that. Absolutely. That whole album, and like I said, back to fucking like Mr. Mix, all that. Hell yeah,
man. You know,
all them 2 loud records.
Yeah, for me, I mean, there's so many legends and so many iconic scratches on records. But like some of my favorites, like what DJ Scratch did on "So What You Saying."
I forgot about that. You're right.
Phenomenal.
Scratch.
Also,
he is phenomenal. Shit. Yeah.
Also, DJ Aladdin was insane.
Yeah. See, you bringing back memories. There he was.
Now.
Oh yeah, Joe Cooley. Goddamn, Joe Cooley.
Joe Cooley. Of course, Cash Money, and insane Jazzy Jeff. But something about Aladdin and Scratch. I mean, it's so many of Joe Cooley was nasty with it too.
Man,
it's so many of them.
I love the way they did the whole DJ. I mean, that was a song within itself, but like all their records was that concept. Like, I'm rapping about this, my DJ throwing in a word. Like, I love that shit. I've been trying to get Mike them to do some records like that. Like, that's cold blooded.
Right, absolutely. So, with that being said, I just wanted to throw that out at you because I would love to hear one of them kind of records again with Run the Jewels, Killer Mike, Outkast. I don't care. Just like when Outkast did Wheels of Steel, right?
Right.
That's kind of like the now version of what we're talking about. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to ask you some real nerdy DJ shit because, those records, those are masterpieces. You know what I mean? And, and I just would love to hear that again. And salute to Premier because he still keeps that torch lit, right? So,
oh yeah, he's good.
So Cutmaster Swiff, what new projects are you currently working on?
I was working with, Lil Will, and I'm working with Killer Mike now, and of course Big Boy working on. I just did a record on a Big Sleepover. I just did that what's it called, Lowercase record.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard that, but I just did that, and the album's about to come out any day now. But they've been playing the single on satellite and shit.
Right, absolutely.
And then he working on another solo album, which that dude Big stay working, so he got songs. He got songs for days, really. And he got at least 10, 12 of mine. So Big Boy, put this shit out if you hear this interview. Let's go.
Right. Any new Outkast music, maybe?
It's songs. Like it's songs and shit set up everywhere. So I'm sure at one point, I don't want to be the one to put it out there to the world and say yeah. But I'm sure at one point, man. You know what I mean? When Dre just ready to goddamn say shit. My vocals ready, or I'm this, that, or I know Big definitely got his goddamn trigger finger ready. So,
well, all I'm gonna say to you is I'm gonna throw it in the air. When you ready to put out that Cutmaster Swift album, I'm right there with you.
I might just do that because I got enough records and shit, I got enough artists. I just the crazy thing, man. Like I said, being a kid from Cleveland, moving to Atlanta, and then starting off DJing when I DJ, I just wanted to DJ and be heard. I know, I would have never thought of rappers having clothing lines and movies and owning teams. Like I never saw that, and maybe I'm ignorant for not thinking that big. But you just wanted to be heard and maybe one day be on TV or something. But
absolutely. I mean,
like.
Go ahead.
It's improv, like the rap, like you interviewing me. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, this shit is big. It's big business, man.
Absolutely.
And we talking about just being a DJ. Like, this shit is a career, and I love it. Like, it's amazing. It is amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the reason for the interview and why I created Vinyl Esquire. Again, even though I say it all the time, it upholds the DJ culture and our legends, but it's the truth because everything that you've done for the DJ community, for Southern music and hip hop is incredible. You're a DJ, a musician, and you've been a part of so many classic records. You know what I mean? It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you say, in your opinion, is Cutmaster Swift's legacy? What would you say, what mark did you leave and will continue to have on Southern music and hip hop?
Probably my effort and my honesty in it all. You know what I mean? Like every time I'm DJing, I ain't trying to slouch. I'm going in because I always feel like other motherfuckers going in. And then especially now that with all the technology, anybody think they can be a DJ? Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to always display some type of skill set, whether it's on a controller, whether it's on turntables, like just to keep the riffraff out of it, saying like, you know, nigga, just because you get a laptop and a controller, it take more than that shit. You know what I mean? Like, for real.
Absolutely.
Not a knock on the way other people DJ, but like, for real, shit, I'm always that dude that's ready to defend that part of it all. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, do you know DJ DiBiase? He started this thing called All Vinyl, but about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yes,
I didn't know what it was. Yeah, he asked, why he started it though? Because he said, man, I just want to ask you to do this shit because I got an email saying Paris Hilton doing a DJing a party for $50,000. So I'm saying this to myself, and I know all my niggas that can DJ like hell, DJ Bass, JC, Scratch Bastard, all these people, $50,000, like just because of, and he was like, I'm starting this thing called All Vinyl, and it was crazy when he said it. He asked me to do it, and I was like, all right, cool. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, shit, okay, I got to put my records back out. This ain't no Serato shit. And it's crazy because on all the DJing and all the years I've been doing it, you had to goddamn recalibrate yourself and learn backwards a little bit because you ain't used to needle skipping, needle placement, how heavy you really got to cut now. You forget about all those different things. But the most beautiful thing about it was about 10 different DJs. How everybody DJs so different, scratching and mixing, and you had maxi singles with different versions of songs that you forgot about. You know what I mean?
Right.
That shit was excellent, man.
You know, and I want to salute to him for doing that. And I think I went to one of those with DJ Wiz. I don't remember where it was at, but I think I went to one of those with Wiz, an all vinyl party. But and salute to him and to you. See, here's a little story for me. You bring up Paris Hilton. This is funny. I started the Vinyl Esquire podcast because I was at one time the show producer for the Global Spin Awards. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So the Global Spin Awards, the biggest DJ award show, in the music business, you know what I mean? And it was based out of New York. I was the show producer. So, what I would do, my responsibility was intros and outros. I would curate, when we would honor a legend, I would curate the segments. I had nothing to do with the awards, right? So, one year they decided to implement a celebrity DJ award category.
I think I was there.
You probably were. And me and you have probably met in passing. We just don't know. But what I'm saying to you is the celebrity DJ category, Paris Hilton popped up. And she either won or almost won. And it was totally, disrespectful to me. You know what I mean? I'm a DJ. I've been a DJ since 84. I'm from the Midwest. And because I was hired to be the show producer, I was brought in to bring this authenticity and bring in the legends, right? And no knock to any celebrity DJ per se. But in this category was also D-Nice and Questlove and Lil Jon and Paris Hilton. And I'm like, yo, she is not a DJ. But because she's a celebrity, decided to grab something because it's trendy, gets paid all this money, she's about to win an award at a real authentic DJ award show. And after that year, they eliminated the celebrity DJ category because of such of the backlash.
I think I was at the award show though.
Yeah.
Was it the one when they started fighting backstage and shit?
No. There was never a fight at the Global Spin Awards. It was one of them shit. I can't remember. Yeah, but
I know I went through.
Yeah, so they got so much backlash for this category that they ended up removing it. And my point on bringing all that up is that's what happens with hip-hop, and that's what happens in the DJ world. It gets so big and it gets mainstream, right? And then
Hollywood divorce, man. Hollywood divorce.
Right, and they start compromising the culture with popularity. You know what I mean? And it's like, wait a minute. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And so the shit disrespectful, cause it's just like,
yep.
It's like, you just can't run out there on the fucking basketball court talking about I'm a pro.
Well,
and you damn sure can't jump on the big screen talking about I'm an actor.
That's right. You can't. But in hip hop, You know, like you said before, in hip-hop, you could be a drug dealer and a rapper now. You could be a dope fiend and an addict and a rapper now. You could be a stripper and be a rapper now. And anybody that wants to go buy a controller for a couple $100, download a bunch of music and put it on a computer, they could be a DJ. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's crazy. And that's the thing. Like, people ask me all the time, like, you be at home, like, what's your residency or where you DJ at? Like, I would love to be here in Atlanta and have a cool spot when I ain't on the road, whether it's 2-3 times a week and just be there. But it's so much disrespect and unappreciation for a DJ, somebody in my skill set, that it's like they don't give a fuck. They want to just throw you pennies and, like, still, that shit crazy. Even with who I am, they still just like, and I ain't even trying to crack you upside the head price wise, but I do want to play music for a crowd of people that appreciate what the fuck I'm playing.
Absolutely. Yeah, no question about it. I mean, listen, you're Outkast's DJ right now. So whatever Outkast does, Big Boy or whatever, you're right there. Right? So, and clearly you're a real DJ, turntablist. As a matter of fact, let me ask you this. What are you currently using as far as your DJ tools or production tools in 2021?
Right now, DJ, I still got my 1200s. I got 5 sets. So I got 5 sets of 1200, 12 tunes. For real, I got my S9.
Wonderful.
I still got an S9. I still got my Rain 57 because I love it.
Absolutely.
I still got my Vest Tech 05 and 07, I think. And then on the controller side is the Pioneer shit. I was sponsored by Pioneer for about 12 years, so I had every fucking CDJ or whatever they can make. I still got a couple of those things laying around. But as far as what I'm using, as DJing on stage, you probably always see me on turntables. And, you know, I take my controller when I'm doing the personal wedding receptions or the corporate gigs sometimes with people.
Right.
I use my controller to get in and get out real quick. But on the production side of things, I like the MPC Live, a little bit of Logic, definitely Pro Tools to the fullest.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a total Pro Tools guy. Like, I've been on that shit for like 30 years when it was called sound design.
Right. Absolutely.
That's pretty much it. I use a little Fruit Loop, like, because for me they kind of all work the same. It's just about the workflow and how. And how quick you want to get it done. But I tell you one thing, and I tell any producer this, although they do the same, different things make you produce differently. I know for me, you know what I mean? Because I was fucking around. I did the Shine Blocker record. I started with it on GarageBand.
Okay.
And I was just like trying to let me fuck with GarageBand. It's on my computer and just messing around a little bit. But I mean, you would know that, like, as a producer, like, it's kind of like, even as a DJ, it's like if you're doing a lot of cuts, certain sounds make you get into the cut more or do something different.
Right.
Same thing with workstations and software. However easy it is to attack that one thing you're trying to do, certain softwares allow you to do that, so you do something different.
Yeah, absolutely. I use Logic, and but sometimes I want to beat on the MPC. MPC Live, you know what I mean?
That's what I love about that shit. Like, that right there, I like that shit because you can just jump on it and go like you used to.
Right.
Yeah, you ain't got to be in the box like that working. And you ain't got to be fucking with the computer or nothing. You can go and you can have a good skeleton done like in 5 minutes.
Right, absolutely. So how do you feel about the current DJ culture and turntablism? You have any thoughts on its current space?
I mean, I like, I'm a firm believer, technology, I guess it makes the world go round faster, I guess, in a sense. I love it. Like, as long as, like, my thing is, if you good, a real good turntablist, like, you should fucking be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I mean, everything is geared for you to be good. Ain't no hard faders, ain't no skipping, ain't no, you know what I'm saying? You missed all that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like, let's just think if Jazz and Cash Money had Serato and all the shit they had 30 years ago, 25 years ago. Man. Do you know what they may have in as far as sound and doing things?
Absolutely.
I mean, although don't get me wrong, they still nice, they still good now. But I'm just saying how your mind worked and the way you was brainstorming at 20 and how it's different at 40 or 45.
Absolutely. You know what's funny is I work with Grandmaster Flash a lot as well, and I've asked Flash the same question. When you were creating the quick mix theory and this science in the 70s, imagine if you would have had Serato.
Shit. Oh, man.
You know,
Like, he had to laugh.
he did. He could, because he uses Tractor right now, but
Right, that's true too.
yeah, but again, you're talking about vinyl. You're talking about using a crayon to mark your, what we now call as cue points, which you can, assign in your computer and on your mixer. I was like,
not even that. Look, not even that 8-16 cue points on one fucking song.
right. So yes, he laughed. He was like, man, you don't even realize what I would have been able to do in the 70s if I had this technology. So yes, everyone using the technology, they bypassed all of that. You know what I mean? That's why you got to be like, this man was incredible, like the most incredible at one point in his life, like catching the break like that. Right.
Like all the way to the science of like, shit, we made slip mats. We did this, this all science shit. It's all scientific, like shit, as crazy or silly as it may sound, but like, that's why we here. That's why you got some of the best DJs in the world. And like I said, like, it's a couple of young cats, like, I don't know, DJ Popo, he dope. He about 26. He about one of the coldest young cats I've seen. And he used 1200s too, but he used the rain. He been using the rain a lot lately. But he be on Facebook throwing up a lot of shit. He do routines every day.
And what was his name again?
DJ Popo, Scratchmaster Popo.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So shout out to him.
Yeah, he's dope. Like, cause, he met me, he was just like, man, you cold. And, and at the end of the day, like, it's going to be somebody better than you. And you ain't, and I ain't never mad at that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
right.
I'm like young blood. You supposed to run faster. You younger.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No question about it. No question.
Yeah, but he's dope from a skill set, and he's dope too from cause whoever he been around or whoever he grew up with, he catalog good. Like, he know music, he know old school shit. Like, he knows.
Yeah.
But you got to check out some. You got to check out some of his routines though. And of course, JC still kills it too. I know you know JC.
I do know JC. Salute. No question.
Yeah.
JC, he DJs for Goody Mob now, correct?
Right. Yeah, he was with Luda for a long time.
Absolutely. Another legendary DJ, no doubt. Salute to JC. So, Swift, before we get out of here, okay, I got to ask you this question.
Okay.
You've been on the road with Outkast for over 25 years.
Yep.
Okay, and I know you know what Versus is. Who would you like to see, if there's anybody you even think that could do it? Who would you like to see Outkast in a Versus with? Because, you'd be there, obviously. Right?
Yeah, I would be there. What's funny? Everybody always tie Outkast and Tribe together. But
right.
To me, like, I love Tribe. To me, it just ain't enough records. Quite enough. They got the records. But we talking about 20, 30 records. I don't think they got them like that.
20, 30 big records, right?
I mean, a good record. Like, the thing about the Outkast albums, the albums are all really fucking good. And I ain't just saying that, the albums are great.
Right.
And they take you all over the place, because all the albums don't sound nothing alike. So you don't get too many similar songs. Balls Over Bad Dad don't sound nothing like Miss Jackson. Miss Jackson don't sound like Spodiote. Spodiote don't sound like Gangsta Shit. Gangsta Shit don't sound like Kryptonite or whatever. Like, it's a lot of records. Like, you know what I mean?
It's definitely a lot of records. So
yeah, like, it's a real time machine.
So do you think that there's no one in hip hop that matches Outkast?
Group wise, I mean, if I had to name artists, it gonna have to be R. Kelly.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
No, it have to be. No one will do it. I think LL can do it.
LL against Outkast? Well,
I mean, he got the records.
I mean, okay, I hear you.
He got the catalog. He could, like, I ain't gonna say he's gonna win, but he could do it, and it'll be
this. That's
unfair. Two against one. It's unfair, but
yeah,
shit.
This is what I think is gonna happen. If Outkast ever decides to do it, it's gonna be an Outkast and friends. They're not gonna verse anybody. because I don't really think that there's anybody out there that matches it. I mean, because the first thing that I do think of is Tribe. Rest in peace to Fife, and he's not even there. You know what I mean? So, because I've always felt like Outkast was the southern version of Tribe Called Quest. That
almost happened too.
Really?
Like, I'm talking about records wise, like before he died.
Wow.
Like, he was trying to kind of make that. Big got some songs. Big got about 70 songs with Fife.
See, and that would be phenomenal because, again, they both, all four of them are spitters, but Q-Tip's got that eclectic style, and so does 3000, and Fife is just a straight spitter, just like Big Boy, and their music is jazzy, but yet funky. I mean, look, again, I think it'll be Outkast and Friends. I don't think it's going to be anything other than that. So now, in closing, Swiff, you done gave me a couple of stories already, all phenomenal. But before we truly close this out, can you give me one story from your past? It could be a studio story. It could be Outkast on tour. Whatever it is, you've been there. Can you give me one story from your past that people might not know that's phenomenal? Something that will that changed your life. Something that happened in your past. Can you give me one quick story?
That changed my life.
Yes, sir.
You mean like not music related? Just.
I mean, it could be anything. What I like to do is pull a story out of your past that somebody might not know of you. It could have been something that happened in the studio with whoever. You know what I mean? It could be a tour story. I mean, it could be something that happened. See, because a tour DJ gets a perspective that the rappers don't. You're on stage, you're in the back, you're looking at everything, so you see it all. You know what I'm saying? The rappers got to look behind to see you. You looking forward, you see everything. So I always like to ask about, a particular story or something that may have happened that our listeners might not know about Cutmaster Swiff. And if not, it's okay. You could bow out gracefully.
No. I'm trying to think. I got you. I'm trying to do something too. Like I got stories.
Right.
Trying to think about what necessarily ties directly to me. Well, I don't know if it changed my life, but it was fucked up.
Okay.
So I was just doing a show with Big. We were supposed to do a show. This was about probably 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and I think I might have just hung out late that night, and I missed my flight going to San Francisco.
Mm.
And I wound up making the next flight, and it's crazy because it was a festival show. Dave Chappelle was hosting it. Erykah Badu was on the show.
Mm.
And I finally get there, and it's like fucking 30,000 people. It's like, oh, they ready too, boy. I'm running out on stage, get ready to do my shit. My computer won't come on.
Wow.
That shit was so fucked. That shit was so fucked up.
So
and for whatever reason, it didn't work. So we wound up just not doing our shit. Wound up hanging out with Dave Chappelle later on, and Erykah wound up, I guess, doing a little bit more time. But motherfucker was mad. Motherfuckers was tweeting. Should have had a backup. What the fuck? Like,
right.
I never had nobody to lash at me like that. But then what's funny, right? Because we on stage, everybody was fucking with the computer and this, that. And it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't come on. When I got home, I turned the computer came straight on.
See, that's a nightmare for DJs. You know what I mean? Because, you don't deal with that when you brought the records out, right? You just put the fucking record on the turntable.
Yeah.
As long as you had power, you were good.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I was like, and because, what I guess moral story is like with technology, we get to a point where we rely on comfort so much and convenience that we tend to forget, a nigga, your TV might not work today, or
right.
What's crazy? I mean, and trust me, technology reminds you all the time that it will fail. We just ignore it.
Absolutely.
Whether it be your car or your computer, like even watching TV, you have to be like broadcast. We doing a test, all that kind of shit.
Right.
It lets you. It lets you know. Satellite radio lets you know, like, hey, nigga, I'm going on the bridge.
Right.
You know?
I mean, think about okay, yes. I mean, you're absolutely right. Just imagine if you don't have internet today. If your internet doesn't come on, then you can't stream nothing. You can't watch your movies, you know.
What's crazy, though, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I felt like with this COVID, when the world shut down because of COVID,
yeah.
I hated it for what people physically and from a health standpoint was going through. But I loved it in a sense because it slowed the world down and made people look at each other and kind of talk to each other again.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
It definitely did that. Yes.
Like, for real, man. I was meeting neighbors. I've been living where I'm living 20 years. Motherfuckers just drive by the house, but now you meet motherfuckers waving and walking and just like
right.
It was like a different world, and like it made everybody stop and pay attention.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about that.
So but that little story right there with the computer thing, that was kind of that was kind of life changing for me as far as like taking things for granted. You know what I mean?
So how did you prevent that going forward?
We have the backup.
Yeah.
The backup to the backup, and the crazy thing about that is, I've lost sessions and shit numerous times. Just like I said, just because shit be so conveniently working all the time, and you take it all for granted. Because I ask people, I asked the computer guy, like, shit, man, what kind of system do I need to back all my stuff up with? He said, shit, another drive, backup, the backup to the backup, the backup plan, the backup plan.
Absolutely. I mean, what else can you do? Bring a bag of records. You know what I mean? You could have, if you had a bag of records, you could have gave them a show. They may not have been able to perform any new songs, but you may have been able to do something. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying is, I was so trifling, I didn't even have a backup hard drive.
Oh, got you.
This is me just flipping on so many levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Well, I know, that's a story for your ass, because that's a nightmare for any DJ to say I was the reason why Outkast couldn't perform with Erykah Badu and Dave Chappelle and oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure that was an uncomfortable night for you. You know what I mean?
Hey man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell you, I can remember back in the day, this was crazy. When we were first, like, we would go do shows in New York on the East Coast.
You talking about Outkast, right?
Yeah, Outkast, right.
Yep.
Because we was on shows. Back then, they used to line you up show-wise, I guess, according to how big the artist was. And a lot of times, we would headline or either be the act before the headline. And, the niggas in New York, they like that shit. They wouldn't say it, but you could feel the tension.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then it would put us all in the same hotel. So we would get love, but it would feel real fucking fake, kind of.
Okay.
And it used to be crazy. But what used to be crazy about New York shit was like, you'll get this group of people that seem like it's fake love, but then you'll have this whole other group of people that's diehard, like that. No, you think they was from the fucking house. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Every time we came out with a new album, we always had to do the promo run.
Right.
And part of that shit was always performing the SOBs. You know how that shit is.
Yeah, been there. Yes.
It's tight, small, and like everybody right up on you, so you can't. You know what I'm saying? This small as fuck. I'm DJing this motherfucker over my head, little balcony. Like, so they see everything you doing. Like, you talking about authentic, real shit. You know what I'm saying? It feel like it's almost feel like you shoot a movie scene or something, like on some 8 Mile shit.
Absolutely.
So, but it used to be funny because he was crazy, and this I guess this story is really like kind of like pedigree. And I used to always go to Big and Drake and be like, shit, y'all niggas nervous? They, you know what I'm saying? Cause see, what I'm saying is that's the coolest thing about being a DJ, especially when you battle style and all that shit. Your pedigree, like, you ready for that shit. You ain't mad. You ready. You like, okay, nigga, I know we finna get down.
Right.
That's it. So missing in this shit. That's the only thing missing in rap right now. Yeah. That right there. That thing right there. Like, all right, let's do it. Let's shit. Now motherfuckers just want to shoot you.
Right. Right. Being a battle DJ. I mean, even an MC, but being a DJ, you always seem to be ready for anything to happen. You know what I mean?
what I'm saying to this day, like if I got to share the same stage with Jazzy Jeff, JC, I don't give a fuck who it is, another DJ, I'm trying to bring it because I know he's bringing it.
Right.
I ain't mad at the nigga because I already know what he can do.
Right.
But the most beautiful thing about this DJ shit is like a heavyweight match. We all kind of do the same thing, and on this day, I can just be better in these 2 minutes.
Absolutely.
You might get me the next 10 days, but on this day I get and that's the thing about it. That's the thing about it, and that's like I said, that's what these artists and these dudes today they can't understand. Like that thing is missing.
Yeah,
they're scared of the talent. They're scared of each other's talent or something like this.
Well, there's not as much talent out there as it used to be. You know what I mean? So, I agree, and hopefully we'll continue to get some more of that. I mean, that's why I asked you earlier, about new projects and new Outkast music or new Big Boy music or whatever you're a part of, because I know it's going to give us that energy that we're missing in 2021. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, how can our listeners continue to follow Cutmaster Swiff?
You can follow me on Facebook, or you can follow me on Instagram at SwiftMan1. I stopped tweeting because, I'm just one of those dudes that's not like a social media whore. Maybe I should be. People always tell me I should do this and do that, but I kind of like life as it is. And
right.
The friends that I possess and got, as like yourself, I like the organic meetings.
No question.
You know what I mean? So I kind of, you can kind of have more control over things. That way you ain't so worried about or so mad at what people saying or should say or shouldn't say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one more time, what new projects are you currently working on that we can look forward to coming?
The Big Sleepover, Big Boy new album, Killer Mike shit. Hopefully I'm trying to jump on this new Run of Jewels album, LP, holler at me. Let me get some of their work.
Right.
And, and shit, Lil Will, if he act right, anything I can, you know what I'm saying? Like, all I got is my legacy when it's all said and done. So if that got to be through music and leaving good music, I'm with whoever want to fuck with me. You just got to be ready, though. Don't play around.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to all the new music coming out the camp. You know what I mean? So with that being said, Cutmaster Swiff, I want to thank you for allowing me to interview you for Vinyl Esquire. This is the DJ podcast that uplifts the DJ culture, honors our legends, and as I said before, you're a legendary producer, songwriter, turntablist, the long-standing DJ for the iconic group Outkast. You're a legend. So thank you for allowing me to interview you for Vinyl Esquire, and you have been listening to the legendary DJ Cutmaster Swiff.
Yay! Who do?
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Vinyl Esquire, the podcast that delivers culture, truth, music.